Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Lucid's 2022 Tournament Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn 29. I'm slightly under the weather, so if I sneeze a bunch or anything like that, I apologize in advance. But I gotta get this turn done, so we're doing it! So let's jump into things. A couple of little changes here or there as we get into the game and I actually start doing more and more trading. I've realized I don't really like how I'm reporting on the trading because it goes weird of like, okay, when do I... Basically what I'm going to break it down into is we're going to have a section at the start where there's incoming trade. We're going to have a section at the end where there's outgoing trade, right? Because it's just easier for me to track on and report on and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Incoming trade. So, we're going to break this particular scenario down into two sections. So, we have received 1 Armor in the Nights and 2 Lightless Lanterns from Ulm. This is stuff that we've already paid for. Stuff that we paid for several turns ago, actually, and Ulm is getting to us from the big old bill of fire and earth and nature and stuff like that. So I'm very happy to have this stuff in for us. Really need the boost in research as much as we can. God, our research is horrible right now, especially without the assistance of our god, who's been doing a bunch of summoning condors here lately. So there's that. Aside from this is going to be a different section. We have received a death basket. So, I'm not going to report these as the same thing because they're not really trade. Although I think from a typical scenario, it does come from a concept of negotiation and good relations and things like that. Yes is on the way out very rapidly, probably just another couple turns, and they have been incredibly gracious in sending us a death basket because I assume because we've been nice, friendly neighbors and we have wished them well. But also, if you remember, we sent them water gems to try to kind of like help them out, right? And obviously it didn't work, but it is what it is. So there you go. As far as this death basket goes, we've received 15 air, 1 ring of water breathing, and 1 crystal matrix. All of which we're very excited to have. More air, more condors, great, awesome. The ring of water breathing will be potentially useful for us trying to pick up the pond, and maybe even later in facing off against Olajia, if that ends up being a thing, who knows. And then a crystal matrix is a nice piece of gear, just always fun to have. Most of our individuals can get into communions relatively well, or we have access to get into communions pretty easily, and we can also forge crystal gear. So this isn't like the end all be all, but I mean, I'm definitely not going to sneeze at it. Very happy to have it. That's one fewer crystal matrix that I have to make. Happy to have. It is somewhat unfortunate, right, that Yes is at the point of giving a death basket, but it is what it is. And I'm not going to go in depth on the concept of death baskets. You know, I think there are plenty of people in the community that have very strong opinions about why death baskets are a bad thing or why death baskets are a perfectly acceptable thing. I generally am of the opinion of, you know, when I go down, I want to go down using as much as I possibly can, but you don't always have really good things that you can do, and sometimes it just doesn't really matter if you alchemize, you're still going to lose, right? So sometimes it's fun to just be like, hey, I will send this shit to my enemy. I'm cool with, right? Like, give me 15 air, give me some, you know, minor items. I guess crystal matrix is more of a major item. Give me some stuff, that's fine. What I would be less inclined about is if you're sending me like 30 of one gem type and another 20 of another gem type and like 5 items and then maybe a few like little bits of gold or this gem type or what. That's a lot, right? Like, if you start sending out that much, I'm like, you could have done a lot of things with that stuff. So this I think is perfectly acceptable, and is probably just because we gave away gems earlier and we were nice. So hey, people, be nice. It gets you shit in Dominions. Also, just be nice anyways, because it doesn't cost you anything. Anyways, we move on. Is this... Do I have this? You... Un momento. Let me fix my notes real quick. There's a lot of different stuff going on this round, so... Okay. Fun. Okay, so we had a death basket. We got a bunch of battles. Let's watch through some of these. We actually have a battle against Olajia this turn. And this was something that I kind of thought might have been an option, right? Like, especially last turn as we started taking Yisian coastal territories. I was like, you know, it's possible that we run into Pelagia as Pelagia is attacking Yisian lands, or as Pelagia sees me taking Yisian lands and is like, hold the fucking phone. Right? You know? So it's possible, and it happened. So what are we up against? Not much, truth be told. This is just a small stack of Atlantean militia led by a Shambler chief. So, I kind of expect them to fold to the... Ooh, no, they stabbed the shit out of that Earth Elemental. No. Oh, there we go. Okay, Blade Wind got him. Another strong reason for evocation, right? Like... Blade Wind will make mulch out of low armored units. That was fun. That was fun. I don't think these guys would have been a super dangerous matchup against Pachikiti with his 33 protection, but that was pretty amusing. I kind of just want to watch that Blade Wind to the face again. It wasn't even in the face, in fairness. It was like right here-ish. Stabbed him up. And... Wow. Oh my god. Oh, that Blade Wind took out so many people. Nice. Very nice. 12? 12? He took out half of our own units is what happened there. Hot damn. Alright, anyways. So, cool. We take Mammoth Grove from Yis. That's nice. Or from Pelagia, rather. I guess we should have watched the Pelagian attack versus Yist. But it was basically exactly what we ran into. They might have lost a few units here, but if they did, not many. They lost 3 Atlantean militias. It's possible that those extra 3 might have kept them from running here, but unlikely. So next up, we attacked in Omia, and this was just with our werewolf. No fucking wolves this time. And there's only one PD here. Surely he can do this. I say one PD, but apparently that's more PD. Sure, he's got this. He's totally got this. Smacks. Alright, wet noodle fight over here. Oh, wow! Hit for 8 and weakened. Okay, that's annoying. It's very annoying, by the way. This is very annoying. I'm gonna point out that this is very annoying later. Kind of funny with the Bane Blade actually ticking away. All right, easy peasy. Got a victory in Omia, and then we had a battle in Centania. So this is right to the east of Agartha's capital, which is a little bit dangerous for us to move in there. But we're pretty sure, I say we're pretty sure, I have reports from Ulm that there's a massive army to the west of his capital that Ulm's trying to deal with. We've seen small groups, 60 to 30, on the capital or north of the capital. So we're trying to, you know, assuming that he's not consolidating all of his forces into the eastern province of his capital, we're assuming that we're going to be okay. There is a fort to the east of this province, and we were like, maybe we catch something en route, right? See what happens. We caught something en route. Abso-fucking-lutely, we caught something en route. So there's some sentinels here, along with an earth reader and just some heavy infantry. Sentinels are dangerous. These guys could absolutely be a big deal. The fortunate thing is they don't... They have high protection, but they don't really have much else going on, right? Like, natural protection, blood bond, reconstruction, cool. But they don't have, like, shock resistance or anything like that. So, what goes up comes down. And, yeah, they just get obliterated. And in point of fact, I think actually I don't know if they all died because of... Because that actually looked like they died really fast. Were they all hurt? Eh. Yeah, no, they pop because of the lack of magic leadership is why they pop. So they would have actually been a little annoying to deal with. Not, like, super annoying, but they would have taken longer to die there. But because we popped the Earth Reader, they had no magic leadership, so they immediately pop. So, very easy win for us. 1 Alkak Runa Spearman and 3 Haten Runa. Easy peasy. So that's cool. Cool. Battles this turn. We got a whole bevy. We've got a spread, right? Battles this turn versus Olajia, 1 win, 0 losses. Versus Yus, 1 win, 0 losses. And versus Agartha, 1 win, 0 losses. Nice. Very exciting. Much wow. I'm happy to have a good ratio this turn. We got a couple of unexpected events. No. Battles. Hinnom striking out at Vanheim. Small group of Sheshai Anakites led by a Kohen up against just some barbarian PD. Should be fine. No, he's good. They don't lose anything. We see Ulm attacking. Oh, okay. This is Ashdod attacks in Mighty Pillars. What do we got here? We got a Rephite Sage and a Kohen. Oh, damn. This is up against a legitimate army. We're doing more of that point buffing. Protection. Every time they hit, they get 2 vans. It's very nice. I wonder... This feels a little weird to me. I wonder if Ashdod was expecting Van to not have anything on here. Oof. Big oof. Okay. Here's a fun one. Rim Mountains. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is that army that we saw a couple turns ago from Ulm. This is the one that he is menacing Agartha's capital with. And, I got a text. Casey's out and about, so I gotta double check and make sure she doesn't need anything. Oh, God. Sent me a picture of an incredibly ugly animal. Very cute. He's at the pet store. His eyes are so big. Anyways, moving on. Very big, scary army here. Lots of crossbows, lots of sappers, lots of black plate, lots of freaking black knights. Some interesting scorpion beasts as kind of like lance casters, I guess. and just like the full enchilada of all of the stuff needed. What's it up against? Oh my. Okay, so this is the might of Agartha, right? This is the main military force. A fair chunk of heavy infantry. We've got a fair amount of sentinels in here. We've got a fair amount of shard guard. And a couple oracles spotted throughout. We've got a huge herd of magma children. Some shard whites. Those guys are pretty cool. And then we got a bunch of great olms in the back. So this is full on. Unless these two armies clobber the shit out of each other, like they both just murk the fuck out of each other, whoever wins this is gonna be in a very dominant position in the war versus the two, right? I will say, out of the gate, it looks like Ulm has a lot more mages here than Agartha does. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So maybe not. That's a fair number of mages. But Ulm has a whole butt ton packed over here. So we got 1, 2, 3 right there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So maybe a couple that I missed. It looks like approximately double the mages that Agartha has. And so what I'm going to do here is I want to just focus over here and see what we see as far as like spells and buffs going up. So the Black Knights heading out immediately is actually somewhat surprising. So because I would assume we want to get them Strength of Giants and you know, Legions of Steel. We got some Phoenix power going on here. Ooh, we got cold bolts going in. Oh, look at those fuck ass Mind Blasts. I wonder if that's what the Scorpion Beasts weren't for. If they were there to try to catch Mind Blasts, then they did not work very well. Got Legions of Steel coming out. We got a bunch of Fire Elementals coming out. Cool. Bunch of Strength of Giants. Bunch of Legions of Steel. Do we have... Does not look like we have Fire Flaming Arrows. Darts. Bunch of Iron Darts. Okay. I feel like we have an interesting concept of what's going on over in the Ulmish side of things. Mostly just a bunch of Legions of Steel, Strength of Giants, Fire Elementals, and that's pretty much it. Over on this side, what do we got going on? Got some Unearth powers. A bunch of Cold Bolts are kind of interesting. But it's not like they're casting that, is it? I guess so. Weird. Strength of Giants, Legions of Steel, all over the place. More Strength of Giants, more Strength of Giants. Yeah. These guys aren't undisciplined. They are mindless, but they aren't undisciplined, so you can give them orders. I wonder if they are on attack rear, because that's what this looks like, but it looks like they got kind of baited here. Again, just having them too close to your own army, you can see people just starting to burn. Oof. The Mind Blasts dropping are interesting. We're definitely getting a scenario where a lot of the Olmish troops are fighting in oh my goodness. The Magma Children got destroyed. They just got absolutely obliterated. Unfortunate. Have we checked out the Olmish Bless yet? I think I have, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. Do we even have anyone blessed here? Don't think so. So yeah, it definitely looked like the you know, the Olmish infantry was all kind of like split up, but the upper portion was able to survive long enough to allow the lower flank to just annihilate all of those Magma Children. And now it looks like the Great Olms are out of ammunition for their Mind Blast. This does not look like it is going to go in the favor of Agartha. Although a lot of the Olmish troops are burning, and they don't have a lot more of their black plate on the field. They just have so many freaking casters. Like, all of these iron darts and magma bolts are doing work. Like, this is... And there's so many fucking sappers and crossbowmen as well. This is a defeat for Agartha, but it also looks like a fair amount of losses for Ulm. Not like a crushing loss for Ulm. A lot of friendly fire, I would assume, actually. Jeez. Yeah, absolutely, he's annihilating his own units here. Oof. Okay. What's the butcher's toll here? 139 lost, but it's all chaff, right? The 16 Black Knights, those should probably, I think this was incorrect scripting. They were probably intended to hold, but they ran out and got killed. So unfortunate there. Fair amount of losses between the Black Plate infantries and pikeneers. What's worse is these Guardians. These Guardians, losing 52 of those, that does hurt. That is not a cheap amount. 9 Black Lords as well, unfortunately. Or unfortunate, all his lords. But look at the work that his priests and master smiths did. Like, they did an amazing job. 98 kills, 38 kills. Fair amount of these are probably their own people, but holy fuck. And then 334 losses on the Agarthan side. Between the 250-ish and this 330, that's Agartha. That's Agartha in a nutshell. Almost kind of like guaranteed, right? You know, we just crushed a little stack. We've seen another 60 stack and another 30 stack, but I'd be willing to bet Agartha doesn't have 200 troops in the rest of their territories. So good job, Agartha. But unfortunate fights picked, and now I think that's pretty much it. What was Agartha missing here? I don't know that I would even say that they're missing anything. I don't know that I actually like Magma Children in the early game, honestly. Like, I get they can be super effective, especially against certain things, but like, did they kill anything? They got 17 kills. 100 of them got 17 kills. They do have an area of effect attack, like that is AoE 1. I guess it just isn't going to work well against high protection units, right? Like, it might be like it's magic, sure, but it's armor piercing, so actually it is probably pretty decent. But they just get shredded, I guess, is the issue, right? Like, part of this problem is they do not stay together. But even aside from that, they just get withered by the crossbow fire. Truth be told. How much did the crossbows kill? Crossbows only actually killed 41. Another 16 on the sappers. The sappers are basically just crossbows that siege well. So 57 kills on the crossbows. Yeesh. These fucking priest smiths actually just tore the battlefield up. Look at that. Holy fuck. Just magma bolting everywhere. Hot damn. Whew, that's just scary. Like, legit. Hot. My god. Okay, yeah, that's a crushing defeat for Agartha. And I would say at that point that's probably Agartha's power broken. 50 units there, 80 there, 40 there, 20 here, right? I'm sure they'll scrape together another defensive force, but I don't think that defensive... If what they just attacked with can't handle what Ulm had here, right? I think Ulm can probably just march out with exactly what they have. You know, like what's Agartha gonna do? So, actually, that would be pretty interesting. It's turn 29. Agartha could come up with a couple of tricks. I will say, one of the things that Agartha did lose was all of these Black Lords with their things like Great Swords of Sharpness and Swords of Sharpness, right? So he has less of an easy time cutting down some sort of like thug or something like that right now. That being said, though, even like Black Halberds are gonna do pretty well against that, so... I don't... and crossbows, right? So, probably not gonna be an option there. You'd have to be extremely strong. Yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty crushing defeat for Agartha. So, I think Agartha's days are probably numbered at this point. But then again, I thought my days were numbered, so we'll see what they can pull out. Moving on, away from battles. It's 28 minutes. My god, I spend so much time on battles. Well, I mean, battles are kind of like the... point of Dominions, right? Like, they're fun to watch. Moving on. We got some unexpected events. We have a meteorite has fallen in Satrandith, so we got a magic site and we lost some population. We'll take a look at the magic site here in just a second. And in Omia, a sectarian movement has emerged, and we lose some population. So let's take a look at the site that we got. It's this huge crater in Satrandith. And it produces 1 astral and 1 earth, just like this chasm does. That's really nice. That's up to 3 earth and 4 astral now. Very, very, very excited about that. So, events this turn, we've got 1 negative and 1 positive. Okay. And we have... how to report this. We lost population in Satrandith, right? So Satrandith minus 340 population with this one. We gained a magic site, so we gained Earth +1 and Astral +1. And then in Omia, we have a sectarian movement that is giving us -2 Dominion. That is how we will report that. And I didn't really, moving on to the next thing, mercenaries. I didn't really talk about this last turn because it wasn't something, honestly, it kind of slipped my mind because it's not something that I think is a big deal. But we had a little bit of extra money last turn, so we purchased these snake charmers. Snake charmers are not a strong mercenary force, but they do have a lot of bodies and thus some siege strength. So we're going to potentially hit Agartha in a couple of different locations. Actually, this turn we're just going to move them in to Centenia to kind of protect the province and maybe come help us siege in Boreal if we need to. Otherwise, it was kind of a random thing. I don't think it was really probably worth the money, but I think we paid very little for them. I think we paid like 40 or 50 or something like that. They're pretty cheap. Anyways, moving on. Other things that are happening this turn. We are making a couple attacks. Ulm is marching on Agartha, right? And going to be attacking in these territories. We are attacking on Boreal. It looks like if we can have our way, kind of what we're aiming at is Ulm's going to take this stuff and maybe some stuff down here, and we're going to take this portion coming in on the side, right? Basically, kind of like re-solidifying ourselves as kind of like a coastline, which I don't know is a great idea for us because it's a lot of Pelagian coastline. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. So we're attacking into Boreal. We're attacking into Austin Glen, just with a force of Hatan Runa. So this could be a crapshoot, right? But I feel relatively confident about Boreal, although this is a pretty obvious move. So it's possible that Gartha has some sort of trick to mess with us. But the thing is any trick that they try to pull here is resources that they're not going to have access to for their capital, right? So I don't really expect them to do anything here, except for maybe a token resistance, maybe some elementals, right? But that's about it. There's that. We found, again, I'm not really sure how I want to report on this, but as we are actually invading someone, I kind of want to talk about whenever we find a cool site. And a lot of these, I'm not going to report on every, I guess we didn't find anything else. I don't think I'm going to report on every time we do we found this gem income. But if we find something out of the norm, like this Hoburg settlement, right? I do want to kind of like throw it out there, especially if there's just some little thing. Partially because, you know, there are a lot of interesting sites out there that there are a lot of sites out there that let you just do really cool shit or give you really, really big benefits. But then there are other sites out there that are like, oh, that's neat, but I don't think I'll ever use it. And then other people are like, actually, you should really use it for this, right? So a Hoburg settlement, for example, might not strike people as especially good, but, right, if you don't have access to nature, it is a nature caster. It does have a small chance to get a different random. One of those randoms is water, which can give you moss body casters, right? The other is earth, which can give you some of the Gaia-ish casters, right? If you need to try to like climb things, though it's pretty difficult. But what's I think more interesting about them is that they're nature and stealthy, right? So these guys are very, very cheap. You're not getting much for them, but they are very, very cheap. Very simple price point, and they're stealthy. You can actually give these guys some nature gems and send out like 2 of them at a time, and you can swarm cast PD down very, very easily. Or you can take Hoburg Militia around in little stacks of 40, and these guys are not great in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but they're size 1, so they're 6 to a square, and they're surprisingly killy at 6 to a square, right? So again, they can take PD, though with higher attrition. I find, generally speaking, I skip the militia and just take some horticulturists, and they can be very useful if you don't have access to stealthy-ish raiders, right? these are actually pretty decent at raiding, especially in pairs, right? If you do 2 swarm casts, that's pretty decent value, truth be told. The other side is that this place does increase growth scales, right? So this could end up being one of our only actual scaling locations. Because this could be one of the only places that we actually have growth in for ever, right? I've got some plans there if we're around long enough, but you know, it's possible that Centennia ends up being one of our highest population locations purely off of the concept of it's one of the only growth locations we have. So I thought that was interesting to notate. Moving on, let's talk about recruitment this turn. Recruitment, pretty simple this turn. We are doing a recruitment of 1 scout and 4 sun guard. Let me notate that real quick. The scout is over here in Bara, still continuing to do that. The Koya is a slow to recruit, so we've got that hanging around. Same down here with this Pakwo. And this is mostly a scenario of we just didn't have a whole lot of money this turn. So it is what it is. We'll talk about why we don't really have a lot of money here in a second. We've got some Nazcan recruits as well. We've done... We've done 32 Hatan Runa and 2 Supaya this turn. Just continuing on there. And the Hatan Runa, we're actually getting to the point to where we can... we sent out a party last turn, right? And we're actually going to be utilizing it. It might get trashed, but it's almost free units. So we're just gonna continue to build up those units and send them out or put them in places to patrol, rinse, repeat. We're probably going to burn Miratrand to the ground in doing so, which is fine. Whatever. It'd be what it be. So, one of the reasons why we have almost no money this turn is because we're putting a palisades, palisades in Omia. And the reason why we are putting a palisade in Omia is, I talked about this the prior turn. We actually got a Karaka here in Mark, because I was like, maybe we need some infrastructure. Maybe we put a palisade in Mark. Only thing is Omia is actually a decent province. So it's a decent province, and it's on the coast with Olajia, and I would assume Olajia is going to knife us in the near future. So we want to try to fortify that border as quickly as we can. If we do that, that might dissuade things. The other thing is this is just a nice location in between these 2 thrones, near-ish to our capital. This is a good fortified location for us, and probably one of the best, if not the best, provinces that we own. So there's that. Other things that we are doing. We are... rituals, summoning condors, and we're going to be summoning condors for apparently forever if things continue at this rate. And I'm not unhappy about that. I am a little sad that we are missing the research from our god, because our god is still the vast majority of our research. But, you know, getting a bunch of condors out here actually does matter. By the way, we are reinforcing Omia with units from the capital and with Pachacuti, just to make sure that this palisades is safe. We're also probably going to site search it with Pachacuti or something like that, just because it makes sense. There's that, and I think the only thing else that we really have to talk about is outgoing trade, 3 fire gems to Ulm. And that is, I think, completion of our part of the payment for the lightless lanterns, which, boom, we've got lightless lanterns on people now. Hell yeah. We are so behind in research. It's gonna take us turn 30 right now. Turn 29. About to be turn 30. At the current rate our economy exists, and at the current rate our research exists, it we would need relative peace probably for the next 30 turns to actually start being anywhere near competitive or relevant in like what we have access to versus what other people have access to. We're so behind now. It's not funny. I cannot wait to see the score graphs, right? Like for the end of the game. I would absolutely love to see the score graphs for our research right now, because it's gotta be garbage. Turn 29, 100 research. I don't. Oy. Oh, we're struggle busting super hard right now. But I mean, it is what it is. We're doing what we gotta do. Anything else to really talk about? Olajia, we've got a death basket from Yes. Olajia is clearly winning there. Oceania, from what I've heard, is trying to fight back, but relatively unsuccessful. Agartha, I believe Agartha's power has just been broken. And, you know, we might take a couple losses here or there, but I'm pretty confident Ulm's going to be able to close this out quickly with them. We watched Van deal a massive blow to Ashdod last turn. It looks like that fat stack is heading to the Mighty Pillars. I don't know if Ashdod plans to try to defend the Mighty Pillars with what's going on here. He might have some new tricks. He might not. I don't know. But we know that there's a lot on the line for Ashdod to come up with some answers to the Vans and the Einhairs and everything else going on there. So there's that. And I think that's honestly it. So we're just kind of piddling along, seeing what we can do, and fingers crossed. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.